viewer, we are still talking about burnout. Also a very sensitive topic at your workplace, at home, of which we are learning very new things from my host, from my guest today, Wendy. Very informative. I'm learning that those headaches that I normally have at night, they're not just medical headaches. It could be burnout. Could I be dealing with something different? Could I be taking painkillers because of something different? I want to find out more from my guest. Now, Wendy, tell me, this burnout, does it have effect on me as an individual? Let's start from individual level. As an individual, does it have an effect on me, my health, my family? Somehow from the talk, it's some more of work related. Does it have effect at my workplace, production at my workplace? Can you take us through?
Okay. You know, when we say it as burnout, a person might think that this is not something that is, you might think it is something very far. But what we actually talk, when we talk about burnout, we're also talking about the state of being under stress throughout. What do I mean? Normally, every day we have stress. Every person, I'm sure even when you interact with people, most people will always complain about their jobs. They'll say, oh, today's job was stressful, oh, my boss is stressful. And you realize stress is something that has become part of our life. What do I mean about, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that when you're experiencing burnout, that means that the amount of stress that you're having is high. And the thing is, you find sometimes you might be ignoring it. You might be ignoring the headaches, taking painkillers, forgetting about it, ignoring the stomach aches, taking painkiller, ignoring it. But what you don't understand is this stress that is causing all this is still in your body. Some research has been done, and if you're someone that likes to read, you can also research on that. When you're under stress, the body releases some hormones because the body releases some hormone. The most common stress hormone is called cortisol. Forgive me if I might sound a little bit technical, but this hormone, it's not supposed to stay in your body for so long. So you find when you're continuously under stress because of work or whatever situation, maybe either school or whatever factor, and this hormone continues to stay in your body, this cortisol, it will start lowering your immunity. That is why you find, in the end, you will still be romanticizing some of these negative work cultures and saying, you know me, I only survive on 2 hours of sleep, and in the morning I'm at work. I can sleep at 4 and by 7 I'm at work. You're praising it, but you don't know that what you're subjecting your body to. So eventually...
You have said something very interesting.
Yes,
it lowers my immunity.
Yes.
Cortisol.
Yes.
So it means I'm also prone to getting other diseases because my immunity is low.
Yes.
So I'm also prone to getting other infections from the air.
Exactly. So you realize, homa, flu, you're always having a flu. You're always having illnesses here and there because of the stress of the cortisol hormone reducing your immunity. So that is why we're saying you're not supposed to subject yourself under that kind of stress for so long. Take that break, and even as we continue, maybe we can still talk about how well you can manage that stress. You also talked about externally, because now you're very irritable, you're very angry, you don't want to talk to people. So you find even your siblings, your family, they don't want to even spend time with you because you're always angry. You know, work is stressing me. You know, I need to do this about work. Like your whole life is now work. You find even just generally even at work, you're always working. We are not seeing the productivity. You don't want to talk to people. You have work to do every time, but we're not seeing it. So you realize when you continue with this environment, when you continue with that pattern without doing anything about it or breaking it, you'll end up realizing, time has gone. You're even getting a warning letter, you're getting fired from work. No one wants to sit with you, no one wants to talk to you because you've been pushing people away unintentionally. And this is something that you could have just prevented by realizing that this is now a problem and now start managing it and taking it seriously. So yeah.
Wow. I'm learning new things. So when I arrive home, I meet my family, I find myself so irritable.
Very angry.
And I'm not sleeping.
Yes.
I should now begin to think otherwise. Now talk about workplace. this burnout. This worker working. I hear my friends who have gone abroad, they say they do more than 3 jobs in a day.
Yeah.
Morning is here, tomorrow at noon he's here, from 4 p.m. he's here. Does it have also an effect on my work, at my workplace with my colleagues?
Yeah, it does affect, because even as when you began, you were talking about learning how to manage, learning how to what you can do and what you cannot do. And you find most people are glorifying some negative work cultures. It is okay, you can do 2 or 3 jobs a day, but at the end of the day, are you reflecting how is it affecting you? Because we are very proud of saying, you know, at our job, like, you know, some of these things you feel, and like I talked about perfectionism and people pleasing, you find your worth, it's like you've related all your worth to the work that you do. You know, me, I'm a doctor, or me, I'm a nurse, so my job, like your job is the only good thing about you. So you find at the end of the day, when you're associating your worth with work, it will end up now starting being negative, because you're not balancing. You do not want to delegate work, you do not want to prioritize other things apart from work. So it just ends up being negative. So at the end of the day, it's okay to do as many jobs as you want to do, but if all those jobs you're doing, you're not finding time to work on yourself, you're not finding time to do self-care, then it is negative, and it will definitely lead to burnout. Yeah.
Wow. My viewer, you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. From what I can gather from her is, you have 24 hours in a day. I need to balance my time. If I don't balance it, it will have repercussion on my health, my family, even workplace. And if even at the production of where I work, whether in business or that organization. Now, Wendy, at workplace, are there effects of this burnout? I'm trying to look at somebody that's somebody upholding that or that organization is that a single individual. Then they come together as a team, but they're all burned out. Can it have an effect on that organization?
I think just generally, productivity will go low. When people are stressed and when people are not well rested, when people are burnt out in a work environment, you will be seeing, okay, I'm talking, maybe let me talk from a management or point of view. They will be seeing people coming to work daily, coming on time, leaving on time, sometimes not even coming on time. But you will be looking at people, but you will not be seeing results. So at the end of the day, because people are showing up and because people are doing it, does not mean that they're doing it right. So what I'm saying is, it will affect productivity. You will notice outcome, and that is one of the indicators of knowing that maybe the people at work are burnt out. If at some point, some time back, the productivity was high, people were working good, and you realize productivity is starting to go low, it's upon the management or the employer to start checking and seeing, could my employees be burnt out? So, and that is how you know what to adjust and what not to adjust. And maybe sometimes another issue you find, there is always quarrels, there's always issues, maybe with a particular person or with particular people. So much conflicts happening. Those also are indicators, and you need to take them seriously and see how you can resolve that. Yeah.
Wow. Now back to individual. What are some of the medical complications that will arise from burnout? A prolonged burnout. I didn't recognize them, so I just continued working. Are there some medical conditions that are associated directly to burnout?
Okay, well, generally, like I said, when your immunity is low or even high stress levels or just burnout generally, it will end up leading to other complications like hypertension, ulcers. And in terms of mental health, you realize someone who is always engrossed in work is very prone, someone who is taking more than they can handle and are experiencing burnout is more likely to have anxiety disorders or even depression. Because number one, your own anxiety disorders are those disorders that you under so much fear and let's say, okay, I don't want to use anxiety to describe it, but you're constantly worried. You're constantly worried, even when there's no probable cause. So you find when you're experiencing all that, it might develop into a disorder depression. You do not have time for people, you do not have time for things that make you happy, you do not have time for family, so you will end up finding yourself alone most of the time. And with this, you can realize that you will end up falling into depression without knowing. And the other thing that I can mention is, and I don't know even why I didn't mention it earlier, but you realize all these work stresses and burnout has been directly linked to drug and substance abuse. Because you're stressed, you decide one
Drink.
beer or 2 beers. Because you're stressed, a glass of wine. And you realize without knowing it, you're treating this burnout, or you're treating this symptom, this issue, yes, but you're treating it the wrong way. And and after some time, it can lead to other complications such as addiction. And now instead of dealing with burnout, you're now dealing with alcohol dependence. So there's a very thin line, and it is important that you notice when am I getting burnt out, and what are some of the negative effects it's bringing to me, so that you deal with that. Yeah.
Wow. So just a small thing like working throughout, not caring about my rest,
Yes.
can lead to stress, depression,
Yes.
hypertension,
All those.
substance abuse, and then you find yourself again in a rehabilitation.
Exactly. Unfortunately.
Wow. And at the end of the day, maybe you find yourself being dialyzed. I'm learning a lot from you. Wow. Now, at the production level, in the company, I'm trying to look at this individual, the effect on the individual, family, also the company. You have talked to us about the production going down. Of course, it will also have an effect on the external customers. How do you manage this burnout? Let's start from the individual level. How can I manage it? So that I've realized the signs and symptoms. I've realized this, how I'm behaving. Nowadays, I have insomnia, I don't sleep. Or waking up, going to work, I just feel like I don't want to go to work. How do I manage?
Okay. What I can say, and I think I also mentioned earlier, is as an individual, it is good that you notice now that maybe you didn't know, maybe you've been experiencing this, but you didn't know it was burnout, or you didn't understand what it was. What you can do is you need to check what immediate change do you need to do within your schedule. What immediate change do you need to make within your schedule, so that now within your life you now start prioritizing. You start prioritizing your well-being. Let's say, for example, because you used to, whenever you're working in the office, because another thing that is also a symptom or related to burnout is procrastination. You realize because you don't feel like working, because you're so tired, you might end up carrying over things, or you say, maybe you're at the office, you're saying, this one I'll do at home. So you need to now see within your schedule, what are some of these habits that have been causing or harming you. You readjust. If you're carrying work at home, you decide, I will not be carrying work at home. I'll be leaving work at work, so that when you go home, at least you can be having some time for yourself. If you realize you're someone that had already cut people off, you now readjust that. You try saying, can I prioritize maybe calling a family member? If you're someone that was just going work, office, work, home, you start seeing how within your schedule, you can start having other places that you can go to, other things that you can go to, or other things programs that you can introduce into your life to help balance that. Even at work, if you're someone who lunchtime, you're still there at work, you don't want to go, take those breaks. Allow yourself to take those breaks, because at the end of the day, you need yourself alive for you to be able to be productive. And you will be killing yourself trying to be productive, and at the end of the day, you're still not productive. So yeah, those are some of the things that you can do at an individual level to manage burnout as well. About the organization, we talked about it earlier, what the organization can do in terms of policies.
I think we can take a break. My viewer, I'm learning new words every moment she speaks. She has talked about procrastination. I didn't know procrastinating also it can also be a sign of a burnout. Carrying forward things. Let's take a break. And remember to hit our social media handles, GBS TV Africa, our SMS line 21144.